So when you got to know that okay, your mains results are out now, you're approaching the SEBI offices in the near future, then you got to know that you had the interview. So what was the feeling at that time when you cleared two basic written examination and now it's just one one step to reach that destination? How was it feeling after clearing the mains?
Actually, it was a very overwhelming feeling because it was very unexpected that I would clear it, because I did not have much knowledge regarding the financial background. So I was now facing a dilemma that should I prepare for the financial background as well, because SEBI being a regulator needs to have basic knowledge. And being from only an IT background, it was a challenge for all the engineers, I would say, there. But yes, we had that excitement in hand, and we also had some time in our hands before the interview. So we started preparing, and yes, rest is history.
Okay, so you prepared for the mock interviews with us, I guess so. And at that time,
Yes.
you were doing good. We provided you some feedbacks, and I hope you worked on that. That's why you were also selected here. So, do you find any resemblance to the kind of mock interview you gave with us and the actual interview? Like, do you find any kind of relevancy in both the interviews?
Yes, there was very much relevance in what the mock interview was and the real interview, because the basic strategy of the questions, the basic pattern was the same, that there would be a set of HR questions like why SEBI, and what is the goal in life, what are the strengths, weaknesses, and apart from that, the basic IT domain questions that were there. For me, they in the real interview, there were IT field questions more as compared to the HR, but there were other candidates who had HR as well. So I believe the confidence that I required for the interview was what I got from their iExample mock only. So after the mock interview, I realized what would be the kind of questions that could be asked, what are the areas that I need to cover, and also my strengths and weaknesses, and how to actually handle the interview, how to drive the interview in the area that you want to. So that was what I learned from the mock only. And after the mock also, I had a good discussion with you regarding how to modify things. So that was what mainly gave the confidence to face the real interview.
No, your confidence is actually very high because you have already qualified pre and means you're good in the technical one. So just for interview, the mentors, if they are the good one, then definitely the candidates will get a good thing. But the main thing is like the confidence that you carry when you go inside the interview room. So I think you were all chin up there.
Interesting. And now coming to the elephant in the room, maybe interview. How did your interview go? Did you prepare for that also at all, or just 2 days and you just walked into the interview room, impressed the panel, and came out successful?
Yeah, I prepared for the interview. I got to know on 25th of May about the interview. It was scheduled on 8th of June in Mumbai. And then I started preparing. I need to go for Mumbai and all the arrangements I had to make. Because of some family problems also at that time cropping up, I started my interview prep on 1st of June. I prepared for 4 days and then gave a mock interview at iExample and got some feedback. That's how 4 days of my preparation was for interview.
Okay, that's so you keep surprising me. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days preparation, but it's not as simple as.
No, it's not that easy. Like those 4 days, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th June was like 4 into 12 hours, 48 hours continuous rigorous effort. So it's not that you are giving 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours. It was 12 hours completely sitting on desk. So that was 4 days.
Right, Vinay. So that's the way we should look at it. Sometimes we forget the details and we are just focused on the smaller numbers, but it's a lot of effort. And as I'm saying, I'll highlight again, it's not just that moment. There's so much backing that comes from our background, our education, and knowing our own self. That there. So a little more details if we go into about your interview. Was it technical? Was it HR? What do you think was more important? What aspects you felt were important in that interview?
Yeah, in interview they actually tested technical also, HR questions based, and they were also testing your confidence, personality, and they were actually whatever word you utter there, you should know about it. Whatever you speak, you should be consistent throughout your answers. You should be very good with your profile. You should be able to answer. You should be able to justify whatever you have done and why you did that. So, and you should also have the basics. Even if you are from information technology background, still we need to have some basics of stock market, securities, what is primary market, capital market, insider trading. Because when there are a lot of times when they ask something and then we simply say that SEBI is doing this for curbing the insider trading, and then they will ask about insider trading, we won't be able to tell. So we should be prepared enough. Like what I did was, like, first, since SEBI is about securities market, I went to some website like Investopedia, read about primary markets, capital markets, the basics of stock market, like what is Demat account and all these kind of things, and then what SEBI does. And then the third thing which you need to know about is the recent developments in the stock market, what SEBI is doing recently in last few days. You need to know about that. The last thing, which is the most important thing, you should be thorough with your profile. You should know yourself well, because they will ask questions. And whatever you say in the interview, you should be you should be able to justify it well.
Wow.
So these are the few aspects which you should work on.
Yes. So I think Vinay has very nicely summed up an interview. You know, the organization you are going to interview for, you should know about that organization and their work area, work interests related, and what they are doing in the recent times. So recent developments, as he mentioned. And then the most important aspect, if you are going, then you should know about yourself, everything in your profile and what you are saying. You should understand what you are saying actually there, and not just blabbering out words to impress the panel, right? So yes, a very important aspect. Yes.
And on the technical part, just for IT people, because most of the people think that interview won't be technical, you should focus on databases. Databases, they will surely ask. Like they asked me questions about normalization and joins and Hadoop also. So SEBI works on data actually. They have projects like Data Lake, and they are working on data mining. These kind of projects they are working. So you should have a basic knowledge of databases, because they'll ask. They asked me like for 7 to 10 minutes about databases only. So it was a technical plus HR, and you should have a basic. You should be ready for basic HR questions like where do you see yourself in next 5 years? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? These kind of questions you should be thorough about.
So, okay, just now the last question from the entire perspective is like, actually this question is having two parts. The first is like how it went with like giving mock interviews with us, and what was your experience, what was your learning from the mock interviews. And the other thing is like how your actual interview went. Was it more on the managerial side, or the normal HR questions were asked, or any background related specific questions were asked, or like how it was majorly, like if you were being asked 10 questions, so out of those 10 questions, how many were technical? A rough idea percentile wise, that what kind of interview overall it was.
Okay, sure. So like first I'll answer the first question, that mock interview at IXMB. So it was very, I would say, helpful in nature, because like I don't have any kind of idea like what kind of question they would ask, and like in corporate sector, people generally focus on that technical aspect, and if you're good in that, they generally leave out the HR kind of question on the back seat. So yes, that IXMB mock was helpful, and I even remember you were giving the advices like, you are okay, you are a very good candidate, just be calm and composed, and you will be able to select and clear the examination. So that kind of advices were very helpful, and like you even suggested me some of the good tips. Like I had messed up in few of the questions, so like you gave me the advices like, oh, don't do this kind of thing, don't do that kind of thing. So that was helpful. And when I went to that real interview, the panel, I would say the panel was very good. I was just, I think, the second last before the lunch period in the morning session. So there were around, I think, 12 to 13 candidates in that whole session. I was 11th or 12th in the list. So my interview was purely, I would say, on the technical basis, because I was confident that, okay, I will be able to answer the technical parts in a better way than the managerial part. Okay, I can answer that managerial part also, but if just to give me one choice, then I would choose the technical part. So I thought that, okay, if I'll be able to drive that interview into the technical nature, then I'll be much more confident. So like when I entered, like they just asked me to introduce yourself and everything. So I had those freelancing stints and everything, like where I used to take the interviews and mock interviews and everything. So they asked, like, you take interviews, what kind of question do you ask in your interviews? So that's how my interview began, and everything just revolved around that only. And like people were asking, like I was doing along with my job, so this kind of mentorship. So like at that time in the current affairs, that Wipro layoff was the news. Like people were being laid off due to that moonlighting issue. So there were questions around that also. And then some of the HR based question also, like basic questions like why you are coming to SEBI, like even after corporate sector, after having such a huge salary, like how will you contribute and everything. So these kind of basic questions, like you have to prepare, and it is must to prepare for that. So if you answer decently, like remain calm and composed, like there can be some questions like which can't be answered, but you have to just say, okay, I don't know the answer, and they will move on to the next question. They are very supportive and everything. So just be calm and composed, I would say, is the mantra.